All right, hunting versus fishing. Okay, fishing is passive, hunting is active. If you're a pure angler out there, just suck it up and deal with it. All right. Choose the job you want to fish for, find a good spot, choose your bait, your resume, and cast and hope, and do that over and over and over again. And that was absolutely me. I used a headhunter I called trout fishing. They just throw your resume from a starving fish and they guarantee you to get a fish. Right? It's passive, right? Be active instead. Know yourself. Know what and why you are hunting, right? Find a hunting guide, find a spotter, assess your weapon, choose your bullet, and fire from multiple positions. And we're going to break this down step by step here in a minute on how to do every one of those things. All right? So if you're a PETA fan, sorry, I'm not really talking about killing animals. It's just a good analogy. Get over it. All right. Don't be a fisherman. Okay. Be a hunter. So, or a dating analogy, right? Applying to a job without networking is like walking up to an attractive single and saying, hi, you're hot. I'm single. Date me. It's a good way to land a lifelong relationship right there. Let me tell you. Okay. You have no idea if they are truly hot or not, right? Anyone know hotornot.com? Let's go date ourselves. Right? 2 to 6 seconds, swipe left, swipe right. And that's what a recruiter is going to do to your resume. They're going to look at it like a hot or not profile for about 2 to 6 seconds and go swipe left, swipe right. So if you want a relationship, why don't you have someone make an introduction for you, right? And I'll do a demo on LinkedIn later. I look at a job post and I'm like, look, this single became single 3 weeks ago and has 55 suitors trying to get a date. How do I get myself at the front of that line? It's sure not by having a prettier hot or not profile, because you don't even know what the hell they're attracted to. You have no idea what they're looking for. And you have no idea if they're not absolutely toxic. The reason they're going to get another date could be because they're miserable to date. And I don't want to be there either. Right? So let's go hunt and get some intel, right? Okay. First step, what and why are you hunting? Okay, not everyone wants or needs a high-powered job. We talked about requirements, salaries, right? Know what you're going after. Know your requirements first. Okay, don't think about the title, just think about the requirements. And you can actually search by job attributes on LinkedIn or in job boards. You don't have to search for titles. We're going to do that later. Okay, find a hunting guide. Every industry is like a different state. Find someone that knows the industry. Get them a coup, get the force lay down. Get the understanding of departments and areas and where to work, right? Where's a good place to be that lets me be me? Oh, we call that the sales department. I don't want that. No, you, based on what you told me, that's where you want to live here. Oh, it's the ops department. Oh, it's this department. Like, oh, it's this whole thing you've never heard of before and you're never going to find it online. Go talk to my buddy that works with it. Like, find someone that understands the industry overlay so they can guide you into job titles or businesses or companies or things like that. Okay. All right. It's like saying, what kind of hunting in Alaska versus Florida? I use the analogy like, hey, I go to Alaska and I say I'm hunting whitetail, you know, and the hunting guide points to a rabbit. I was like, that's not what I wanted. And then I see a deer walk by and I'm like, that's the great horned animal. Well, if I described I wanted the thing with horns, it's brown, about 500 pounds, tastes really good. Oh, we call it this. Right? Stop telling me the solution. Just tell me the requirements so I can tell you what we call that solution in my company or my industry. Okay, just further driving that point home. All right, finding a spotter. This is probably the most powerful thing I'm going to teach you, and I'll show you how to do this later. Right? Anyone work artillery, forward observers at all, right? Okay, no one shoots alone, right? You need someone to range your target. So before you try getting that blind date with someone you don't know, get someone to tell you about the characteristics of the individual. Okay, recruiters are forward observers too. They're just looking at dating matches and going, yep, you meet the needs my boss wanted or not. Right? They have no authority to hire you. Okay, a spotter is an employee inside the company, ideally a veteran. Okay, use LinkedIn to filter out employees and find them. Have an honest conversation about what it's like to be an employee. I will do a full demo on how to do this. Talk with that insider to get answers to your requirements in step 1. Does this animal even exist here? And if it doesn't, stop trying to hunt it. Okay. Think about doing research on someone you want to date. We talked about this a little bit. Okay. If all you describe are physical characteristics, then you may get a very shallow relationship. All right. Things to ask a spotter. How does the hiring process work? What's the company culture like? What are its values? Is there a value statement or a mission statement? What are the salaries like? Back to that salary question. Benefits packages, good departments to work for, right? Growth progression, maturity of the job posted, right? Is this person really dating, or they already got a committed relationship, but they just had to publicly offer that they're dating to be legally compliant? right? No, they're already pretty much engaged. They just had to go announce it like they wanted to, right? Some jobs are baked, they call it. They're already given away before they even post online. Know which ones those are. What's important to the hiring manager? Why are they hiring? What is the need that they have so I can articulate my value as a solution to their problem? Are the requirements and desirants even real? I want a self-identifying purple unicorn. Okay, good luck with that, right? They don't know what they want. So back to the solutions discussion, a lot of people asking and building out job posts don't even know what their solution is either. So they throw a bunch of stuff out there they think is going to meet the need. They don't list requirements on job boards. They list solutions. You need to figure out what the requirements are that they have so you can articulate your resume as the exact match to those requirements. And it may not be what you see on the job post. Does a company have a resume template they prefer? Everyone's got a resume and they all suck. Okay. Why? Because everyone who reads them thinks theirs is a better format. Just if there is a preference, get it from someone inside the company. Okay, like going through an inspection. Does the inspector have a preferred format? If I know what that is and I make my binder look like the inspector's desired format, you get a little gold star and they come in going, wow, that guy should have. You did your homework. Last one, can you please connect me with a hiring manager? That person looks smoking hot. Can you introduce me to them before I walk and stand in line with all the guys getting date? Right? Like, this is how business works. People hire people. They don't hire a resume. Make them learn about you as a person, not just a resume. All right, step 4, assess your weapon system. You, right? You are the weapon. Your resume is the bullet, right? Your knowledge, skills, and abilities give you a weight of credibility, a caliber that lets your resume influence somebody, okay? Depending on the organization, you might only be carrying a 22 when you really wish you had a 308, right? Don't care how good your shot is, you're never killing that damn animal. You're just going to piss it off, right? And waste your time. So look at required knowledge, skills, and abilities and desired knowledge, skills, and abilities. When you see gaps, fill them in, okay? Compare what you bring to the table versus what they want. Talk with your spotter. Are these required or aspirational? The company might be fishing too. I want someone with a doctorate degree and 40 years of experience. Yeah, good luck, right? Like you're just hoping for the world. But if you can still articulate value, you may be able to get around the filters. Now, granted, those hiring filters, right, are looking for keywords. The only way you get around the filter is when someone walks your resume into a hiring manager. Okay, upgrade your weapon. When you see consistent gaps between knowledge, skills, and abilities, upgrade them, right? Certifications are a phenomenal way to upgrade your weapon system, right? Certs, education, and internships are the 3 ways to upgrade your weapon. There are tons of free resources to get certs, right? Certs take 3 to 5 weeks. Degrees take 3 to 5 years, right? For soldiers out there, you have $4,000 every year to pay for certifications, and you can use it till your ETS with no service obligation. It's amazing. It's called credentialing assistance. Coast Guard has it too. Air Force Cool for enlisted. GI Bill. There's great ways to pay for certs now. Okay. So reasons to pursue a certification. Number 1, the job says I must have it. It's kind of a no-brainer. Number 2, all the jobs I seem to be interested in, it keeps popping up. And number 3, I want to learn what it's going to teach me. Okay. And a pictorial reason, time to transition, right? The closer you are to transition, it better be aligned to reason 1 and 2. Okay. Unless you just don't need a job and you just want to be intellectually curious, right? But right now you are all about to be in the firefight. You better upgrade your weapon with a known target in mind. Okay. Our passion as a business is what if you could have had them 5 years ago, right? And we'll talk about that in a minute. So certified professionals on average make 20% more than non-certified, right? Some jobs require them even to be considered for a position. Okay, the intangible value, right? Credibility. I've hit this before. You have capability, you're missing credibility. Certifications give you credibility by demonstrating knowledge, experience, and abilities, right? Relatability, identity, and connection. False perception divide, right? Industry standards, terminology, doctrine, right? I speak your doctrine in your language, right? If I might be the best deck builder in the world who speaks a language I don't understand, I'm probably not going to hire the guy. I have no clue what the hell he's saying. It has nothing to do with capability. It has to do with relatability, okay? Confidence, right? I was asked, why should I consider you a project manager? Because I'm a certified professional with 10 years of experience. Next stupid question, please. Right? Like, I wasn't trying to justify why I want to become one. I could claim that title as a certified professional, right? It changes the interview process. Some are broad, right? Some are narrow, right? And some companies want them more than formal learning, right? Amazon is changing the perspective with Amazon Cloud. They want your AWS certs. If you want it for Salesforce, get Salesforce certified. They do not care about your education at that point. Hey, this is what you are to industry, right? Because unless you're a vet, married to one, or related to one, you only know what you see in the media. So thank you, everybody. All the Top Gun guys are tail chasers. That's great. All right, Bob, go ahead.
Talking about certs, I've been kind of surprised in talking with folks in the area, talking with some a couple folks on LinkedIn. It all depends on what network you have. So whether these are valid resources to talk to, obviously, but when it comes to certifications, especially with project management, is some of the time you get the we actually prefer if they're not PMP because we do it our own way, or we like to educate people the way that we do it, so that's not a requirement. And I'm sure in specific cases that is, but I mean, how often have you seen where it's like you got a certification which gave you a specific language, or you're talking a certain way, and we don't really like that? I mean, do you see much of that, or have you experienced that at all?
Much more the exception than the rule, and I kind of follow the adage: better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it, right? And if that's the case, just don't put it on your damn resume. I mean, it's your campaign, it's your message to send. But I will tell you again, going into project management, I thought PMP and Lean and now Agile and change management complemented a lot of the foundations that I had and gave me new ways to think. And then I had that credibility. Like I was at a nuclear power plant, talking to the customer, and they weren't talking to my boss, they were talking to me. And I said, why? They go, you're a PMP, we're a PMP, and he's not. I was like, I'm the newbie. I felt like the high school graduate, right? But they gave me instant respect because I had what they had earned, and it was the same thing. Like wearing tabs in the military. I see someone with the same patch and I know what they went through to get it, I can relate to them. Now, that doesn't always happen. I've heard of stories where it's an instant credibility or no credibility, or they didn't care or they did care, right? I mean, everyone's story is unique, just like attractiveness. It depends, right? Just because you have it doesn't mean that person's attracted to it, but it won't, most of the time, it will not hurt you. It just may not help you as much. Does that make sense? But I've had stories from command sergeant majors saying that a $200,000 job thrown at them, and they said, are you PMP certified? And they said, no. They said, sorry, and they yanked it back. I mean, contracts, again, defense, if it's listed as a requirement for the contract, you must have it. They can't bid on it without it. So it depends. Cyber, like, it's like having a security clearance. You either have it or you don't. Like you want CompTIA, Sec Plus, Net Plus, those things, like sometimes they're required, sometimes they're not. But it's never a bad thing to pursue education, right? And as you're in uniform, if you got free resources, go get it. So on the identity side, just to answer your question, I'm not trying to skip on, but for time, I do want to keep moving on. Okay. We talked about identity beforehand, right? Certs, ironically enough, mirror a lot of the same process, at least the ones that are hard to get, right? Someone argued there's still a border. There's a network of professionals you're allowed in when you have the cert versus not. Conflict, right? They're hard to get. You struggle to earn them. So that struggle creates a bond of other people that have it. Ceremonies, processes, doctrine, right? The way of working that's unique to that industry or that certification's body of knowledge and how it works. The language that's used, right? I have worked for project managers that doctrinally were not anywhere close to project manager. It was a title they had, not a work that they did. And it drove me nuts, right? I was a task lead or an analyst. I was the PM, they were the bean counter, but their title said project manager. So in some cases, just knowing that term and being able to use the term was great. Then those who aren't certified, right? It gives you that confidence to stand out, a differentiator against other people you're competing with. And like it or not, all of you are about to go into competition against each other. You may have multiple people in an internship when they're going to hire one. Who stands out? How do you differentiate yourself? Right? And I will tell you from the buyer's perspective, knowing someone's licensed or certified with years of past performance takes risk away from me. Right? So how do you set yourself up to be high value, low risk? Some companies are not wanting to hire that. They just want a worker. So you are overqualified. You're not going to fit what they want. That's fine. That's not the relationship I wanted anyway. Right? And that's where it comes down to the right fit. It may hurt. It may not. I would say, and most likely it will help or do nothing, but I've not really heard any stories of being hurt by being certified. Unless you have 90 certs and you put them all on your resume and someone's like, what the hell are you? Right? Like you're just a cert chaser and don't know what you are. All right, ways to pay for certifications, just for most of you still now, right? Army CA, $4,000 a year, no service obligation, active guard and reserve. It is an amazing resource for soldiers and you can use it while interning if you want. So if you're looking into project management, let me know. We have some night classes coming up. Okay, Coast Guard credentialing, same thing, $4,500 for every active coastie. They actually get $9,000 a year for educational benefits. Air Force Cool, enlisted airmen have to be on active duty orders, or guardians, up till I think 120 days out from transition. Unit training funds, SF-182, GI Bill, right? Onward to Opportunities out there as a resource if you need them. I recommend not using them as a skill bridge, use them after you get out instead. Tuition reimbursement for a lot of civilian companies. One thing to ask is what the educational benefits are going to be at the company and will they invest in you or the ability to upskill while you're there. And then for us, if you are out of pocket, it is 30% off all of our training for PMP, Agile, and Lean if you are a veteran or a family member. So just things to think about. Again, for ranks, I talked to a guy today who was 16 years in who said, oh, I had to go get my CAP-M because they said you didn't meet the experience for PMP. He said, the person that told you that's full of shit. They know what I'm talking about. Okay. So if you're looking into project management, this is where you can take military experience and overlap it to industry experience to get certified. So again, Scrum Master is another one that's out there. It's a great cert for IT project management if you want. It's just not funded by the credentialing program or the COOL system, right? ACP is. So if you're looking at IT projects, look into Agile. Manufacturing, look at Lean. If you're going into everything else, project management, look into PMP. It's just good starts if you want. Not required, but it will not hurt you. All right, just other ranks for other services, letting it go. On the PM side, why those three? They're a capability set that interlocks, just showing it to you. Lean is taught in Agile, Six Sigma is taught in PMP is quality assurance, half of PMP is Agile. It's really just about different lenses, solve different problems. How much is known or unknown and how dynamic is the situation. I used Agile as a consultant writing acquisition policy documents, right? So it's not about IT, it's about iterative and incremental delivery and rapid change. So, you know, again, what I learned in getting these certs gave me a foundation to become a better employee, even when my title wasn't PM, right? And that goes back to why I'm passionate about certs, is they teach you skills to be effective teammates in industry, even if that's not your position, okay? So just take that as a consideration. Again, I know these very, very well. If anyone wants to talk project management, hit me up. I will gladly walk you through it, whether you certify with us or not, I don't care. I don't know as much on the cyber side, but same thing. If I want to be a manager of cyber, if I know the foundations of cybersecurity, I now have the terms to come and lead a team doing that work. I might not be a developer or a coder, but I can at least lead a team knowing what they're talking about, right? Back to the relatability and the credibility question, okay? And things you guys do right now that are all the same stuff. So, all right, look at certs that are credible. So before you search for certs, go type them in and see how many jobs are requiring it. Like I'm a certified change manager, but there's like 3,000 jobs in the US looking for that cert. But if I take change management in a job search, which we'll do later, there's probably 280,000 jobs looking for change management as a capability. So again, being able to say I'm a certified professional, even if the company doesn't ask for it, still helps you stand out as a differentiator. Yes, I can do change management. I'm certified and been doing it for years, okay? All right, why pursue certifications before transition, right? Industry overlap. Military experience provides a foundation, often qualifies for applications, right? Past performance, you have it in many ways, just got to translate it. Writing the application helps you write resumes and translate what you've done into industry terms. So even going through the application process to get certified was good learning for me to be able to talk in civilian terms, not just military terms. It's a chance to experience industry, right? If you're a soldier and you think you want to go into cyber, take a class in cybersecurity. If you hate it, you probably don't want to go into cybersecurity, right? So it's a way to touch the industry without committing your life to it, right? So again, I highly recommend taking advantage of it. Some companies want to see post-certification experience. I've seen a few jobs that say PMP plus 3 years or plus 5, right? Or cert plus so many years of experience. So that's just another reason why we are trying as a company to get these taught at the left side of that slide, you know, E5, E6, E7, O2, O3, right? Not as transition prep. All right, choose your bullet. Part 5, your resume, right? You must select your bullet based on the intended target. Okay. What's the target, right? Is it the algorithm or is it a hiring manager or the person? Go ahead, Brian.
Sorry, Josh, I was late getting my hand raised. For the folks who have completed their P&P boot camp using whatever they use to pay for that and are waiting to take their exam, do you recommend you put on your resume that PM-P boot camp or whatever prep course completed pending exam, or just don't put it on your resume until you actually have your certification?
I just put PM-P in process, estimated complete date, right, on there, or cert in process, estimate complete date. That way it lets anybody seeing it know that you're trained and on track to have this by a hiring date, if that makes sense.
Got it. It does. Thank you.
Put it down. Oops. All right. So, again, I've had a lot of people send me a resume and I don't have the picture on here, like a shotgun shell. You're like, is this a good bullet? It's like, what are you shooting at? You can show me bird shot. I'm like, that's the best thing ever if you're hunting birds, but if you're hunting deer, it's worthless. Right? You can show me a slug and I say, that's great if you're hunting deer, but if you hit a bird, you're going to obliterate it. You're overqualified, right? It's not because you are ineffective or what you're capable of isn't accurate. It's how you're packaging that isn't correct to the target. You have to weapons pair your resume to the ordinance and the target you're trying to influence, right? Like, so as most veterans, we understand that concept. It just works when you think about it. So yes, you have to write individual resumes. All right, fire for multiple positions, right? Getting hires competitive, do your research, gather your intel, build your brand, be marketable, know what you want and what you're willing to negotiate for. Be willing to get it wrong and learn, right? Be willing to fail. It's okay. All right, simple graphic. Job I want is the animal, skills and experience for my weapon. The resume is the bullet. My spotter, right? Guiding a job seeker, and then a hunting guide as a mentor in industry. All right. Civilian hiring is not the military. Recruiters are not the door to getting hired. They're simply matchmaker. Get around them, go to somebody behind them. The company doesn't need an open position to hire you. They can make one. You can pursue jobs that you want, not just those in your MOS, right? You are now free and clear of all things behind you. You can be whatever you want to be, right? Job titles are not MOSs. They're just billets and they're unique. Company call it whatever they want to. Your pay isn't fixed. And you don't have to stay anymore. So I'm skipping over some just for the sake of time. It's a business decision getting hired. The company has a need. Do your homework. What's the gap? What are they trying to fill? And then build a resume that shows you are high value, low risk, and a good culture fit. Don't make your first date a blind date. No one has experience until they show up, right? Know what you bring to the table and be able to articulate it to get your foot in the door, okay? Build your tribe. Okay, the veteran community is powerful. You'll never understand how powerful until you're not there anymore. So start connecting with other vets. Be willing to reach out and build friendships. Okay, reserves and guard are great to stay connected. I highly recommend it. Take time to connect with others. Be willing to ask for help. Vets to Industry is another great networking event of people out there. They do like a few thousand people at a time come together like once a month.